a look at the market. We're going to take a look at, I know a lot of you are going to see red, which is for good reason because it's very red, across the board, but not by wide margins. Basically, the biggest thing for some, because when you went to bed, we were green. For a lot, they're coming and waking up and like, what the heck? When I went to bed and I'm getting up for work and we're red, like we gave back all of our gains, but that's okay. The situation we're in right now is we were in a very tight level. We did come back below that $2.88 mark, which is why you've seen a further consolidation, because we had to stay on top of 288 to spark that next bullish push if we wanted to push up to 295 and ultimately up to 306 and start to have that higher climb up. But we weren't able to do that as of yet. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It just means as of right now, we need to do a little bit of work. We're still early before mid-November. So, there's still that. So we've got, sorry, I'm posting this and doing what I got to do because I didn't get an alert. So it's going to be very hard for the audience to get this live. It's unfortunate, but it happens. So if you could hit that like button, I would greatly appreciate it. And we'll do our best with who's in here because honestly, it's the community that joins even when it doesn't go out live. It's the same group of people that understand the routine. They understand how to find the content. And if you're part of Tom's Army, or if you're still in Tom's Army, make sure you have the Telegram, because when I post something, it's simply in the Telegram and it pops up no matter what. So if you're in the Telegram, you can see in my pager section, I posted, ooh, did the live not go in here? Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. I'm glad I looked. So I'm going to share it. And this is what happens when I share it to the Telegram. So share. Let me go to more. Let me go to Telegram. Go to Tom's Army. Let me go to the pager section. My bad. That's my bad. So yeah, I apologize for not putting that in the Telegram. But normally, you'll get it in the Telegram. There's so much cool stuff in here, too. So much cool stuff. And Frankie, Fresh, if you're watching, you're in my prayers right now. I know you're continuing your journey to try to heal. But hopefully you're doing well out there. And Janine, if you're watching, I give you my love. That's Frankie Fresh's significant other. But our community's just spectacular. And we have a close bond of unity. Whoops. We have a close thing of unity in this community. And it really does help pull us closer together. I know I got a lot of questions about T, so, just right off the bat, I'll answer that. He is in school today. He was very excited about going to school today. He woke up, in fact, as you guys know, I did a video at 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:30. He woke up, he was very excited. And he's, let's just say every day he's getting better. He's been on the antibiotic for almost, what is it now? He got on it on Sunday at about 4 p.m. He had a double ear infection, but he's doing a lot better. He wanted to go to school yesterday, but he can't go 24 hours. Plus, I didn't want to send him yesterday anyhow. So, but he's in school. He's very happy. He's been up since like 12:30, 1 o'clock. So I was up with him, and then Julie got up, and at 4 a.m. and I went to bed for like 2 hours, and got back up. But yeah, so I appreciate all the questions. I really, 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 really do. It always makes me happy to know so many of you care about Little T. But yeah, he's doing good. So then a lot of people were like, Tom, you always talk. It's so funny, the messages. Tom, you always talk about working out, but you never show us the muscles. And it's like, well, that's not generally what I do because I only show my face. But maybe I'll give you a pose through the back end. Not a pose, but I'll just do a flex. But I always laugh at it. It makes me chuckle when I see it in the comments. Especially when it's in the YouTube comments. It's always funny. But anyhow, good morning. 9:52 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Tuesday, September 30th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. and I reside in the great state of Michigan. The Cannabis Podcast says, can't display guns on YouTube. Exactly. You know, they might want a license for these guys. Oh, the audience is too funny. But thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor. And the Cannabis Podcast is excellent, excellent content here on YouTube. If you're into the herbal side of healing, if you like cannabis, but if you're not just, no, hey, I'm going to go smoke and blah, and you're not just for that reason, for the fact of healing, pain management, and also the holistic side of it for a little bit deeper than just pain management. Terpenes, and when you go a little bit deeper into it, it gets, you get into a little deeper healing. So, especially if you know how to get the oils and the resin and the trichomes properly. He just teaches so much stuff. So, I encourage you to go over there. Why not support our fellow community? I think he's going to make headwaves here if we can just give him the proper support. He really does he does a better broadcast than I do. He's got a better, look at me, I'm just out here in front of my screen. He's got a great production. But anyhow, I digress. But good morning, Mark Casson, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for 1 year plus with the with the I Told You So badge. Good morning, everybody. Like, seriously, thank you for tuning in. Joseph Euler, Crypto Cooter, and Ben B, thanks for being in Tom's Army 6+ months with the XP Predictor. And Crypto Cooter, thanks for being a very, very trusted mod in here and in the Telegram. True, good morning. Dan Marginal and William, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army 3+ months with the XP Meteor. Mr. Stott and Mike B, thanks for being in Tom's Army for your 2nd month with the Dusty's Autos Crypto News. Let's see. XRP Broska, welcome in. Dennis Smith and Dan Marginal and Poppy Lou, thanks for being in Tom's Army for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. Wow, how incredibly awesome is all this support. XRP Broska, Massey, and John Bugathorpe, good morning, and thanks for tuning in. Let's see. Jay from Mix, good morning. Corey Barber, welcome in. What's up from the north of the border? Barrie, Ontario, what's up, Tom? What's up, friend? Hey, good morning. Hopefully you're doing swell on the other side of the bridge. We're just a bridge apart, my friend. Just a bridge apart. I mean, it's a long stretch of both countries, but we're just a bridge apart, ironically, from Michigan to... Wait a minute, where did you say? Yeah, from Ontario, we're literally just a bridge apart. Or an underground drive under the water, which I never like to take that route. I don't even trust going over the bridge, but that's another story for another day. Corey Barber, welcome in. Mick Shoot, good evening, or good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army 6+ months with the XP Predictor. John Hall, welcome back, friend. Love seeing you in here. I love reading that name out. That's somebody who was in here, and I remember was a rookie before we had the breakout before, and we were in the consolidation period, and I'm like, just it's going to be funny because you're going to be one who can pass on the knowledge the next time around. And now he's actually seen a cycle starting to play out, and he sees how painful, but also unbelievably prosperous these cycles can be if properly played. Just send it, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor. And Frankie Fresh, good morning, as we did a shout out to you this morning, but you weren't in here yet, for your continued healing as we're praying for you. And good morning to your significant other, Janine, as well, as we shouted her out as well. And thank you, Craig Carlson, as well, for both of you, and all three of you, I should say, being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. Dennis Smith is from Stratford, Ontario. Look at that. John Hall says, Mom passed. That's why I haven't been here. I've been listening. I'm so sorry to hear that. As we say a prayer for your mom's safe journey to her passing to her destination with our Creator. I believe there's solace when we finally do cross over and meet our Lord and Savior. So just for the safe travel back and a comforted trip back at that. Because some need guidance on their way back to our Father. So we'll just say a prayer. We'll ask for guidance from Yahweh and Yeshua. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. I'm sorry to hear that, John. Hopefully, you're able to spend the last few moments with her and it was as painless as possible. Tango, good morning. And thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. So we'll dedicate this to John's mom. to Mrs. Hall. Well, yeah. I don't know if that was her last name now, but to John's mom. And look, more than one person is speaking the name of our Lord and Savior. So God is present in this community's actions right now, which means John's mom's going to be blessed. And already has been by our Father. It's rough, John. I'm glad you're able to share that with us. And I'm glad that you have found your salvation and you're back and you're trying to push forward. I don't know what that feels like yet, but as I get older and my parents get older, you know, you're getting closer and closer. So it's just one of those things of life. D. Rojas, welcome in. Dan Marginal, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army 3+ months with the XP Media. And John Patak, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XRB 589 Moon Badge. And Shane, our good friend Shane, also in here for 3+ months with the XP Meteor. So getting into XRP, sitting just under $2.85. The reason why it came down a little swiftly, and I know right here it wouldn't show it, it wouldn't show us the validation of why, but it's just kind of what we talked about yesterday. Were we going to break out past 292.22, which if you look at this pattern, it was actually going for a back test of a breakdown, or if we look at it in a slightly different perspective, you were in a consolidation, and were you back testing a breakout at 288.41? So basically it came down to, and this is how you manage the micro part of the patterns, if you understand the setups. So now we know our short-term support yesterday was 288.41 that had to hold. It needs to break past before we lose, or have to break past 292.22 before we ultimately lose and validate the loss of 288.41, which we haven't done yet. But if we start coming down a little bit farther, it's going to absolutely be a problem. But we could be creating a hook here for a little shoulder, because we did have a nice W reversal, wick exhaustion, a wick pull down. Didn't 100% fill the exhaustion. It was pretty damn close. It was pretty damn close within a penny. So we have to make sure if this could be a kind of a folding in, and then it could push you up to the last layer up here at 297, which you ask yourself, why does that make sense? Well, I mean, it doesn't really make sense, but it could happen. It's not that it makes sense at this point. It's just a matter of if it's going to happen or not. If this breaks down from here and that 292.22 was actually a resistance, then you end up having a technical drop at $2.28. Now, pay attention to this, because if we went to 228, you're also going to open up the possibility of a different style drop here within. So if it breaks down to that 228, which I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, we're just looking at the pattern because we fell back below and got rejected at 292.22 initially. Then we're going to have to deal with the fact that we're in a pattern right now, and if we lose 228, or if we go down to that technical drop to 228, well, obviously we lost 267. So then we're going to have to start to pay attention a little deeper, because then it's going to start to bring this into play if that happens. And 261 is the overwhelming bottom line we have to hold. So if you break 264 in that little pattern we were just talking about, you better pay attention to this $2.61, because if that's lost, and it's going to be a little bit lower now, it's going to give us some grace in real time. I think it's going to be like 258. Oh, now it's bringing us into the fair value gap area. Look at that. Let's put this out into, because 250, if we draw it out, how long would that take? Ooh. Now it's bringing us into the gap area, see? Now that, I like this a lot. Because this would be it's so funny. And I don't mean to laugh. But when you know technical analysis, but when you start to learn it by watching every day, once you start to realize the significance of all this, we've been talking about the fair value gap for some time. Some think it's already been filled. I think at the upper side it has, but not in totality. Just like I don't think the 250 gap was filled in totality. But that's just, or the 150 gap, but that's just me. So I mean, look how this starts to trend out. It does start to make sense. It is starting to make sense. But that's why it's not so point blank like, Tom, are we breaking out? Is it going up or down? Well, in this scenario, we could back test and prove a breakout. If you look at the micro and slightly different, we're getting rejected. And if you look at it slightly different, we failed to hold the 288 and we're back within consolidation. That brings you to 267. So, but, you know, you can't get there until you break down certain layers and get rejected, which now we got rejected. So it's like, are we just trying to get validation on the 20-day moving average, which we're slightly below? Or are we starting to make this move down to the technical drop from a rejection from this side of the pattern at 228? Well, I don't know, because we're still within the pattern consolidation, and ultimately, not just 264 hasn't been lost, but we haven't lost 261. Now, yesterday I was very adamant about us coming up to 115.1 on Bitcoin, or at least trying to come close to it. And with this is more of a profound hit rather than yesterday. But at the same time, is that not maybe building an arm here that could allow us to slingshot over? Because technically, and I'm playing devil's advocate here, because if this is some kind of descending formation that's setting up here, which it very well could be with what I'm seeing, this very well could be a descending consolidation, or can be a descending, or well, it could be I guess a descending broadening wedge. It's formed into a couple different things here, which makes it interesting. It does. It makes it quite tricky, because I would argue that it would force it into some short-term momentum here after, well, which we already thought it was going to have the short-term momentum up from Saturday. But I mean, as far as a continuation now for Bitcoin, that almost looks like a descending wedge. Well, maybe not a descending wedge. Well, yeah, I guess a descending wedge, because the price action is going down, so I suppose it is a descending wedge. So it's either coming to 126, like we were saying before, if it got on top of 115, which is very well what it could be doing. It is. It very well could be doing this. But I don't know. That's just speculation. And if it doesn't go up from here and it gets rejected at 115 too, I mean, let's say it drags out. I mean, it's going to come down here to the bottom. It's interesting. This is very interesting what it's setting up for us, in my opinion. So, I don't know if it's resistance yet. We have not validated resistance as of yet. Right now, we've tapped it, but this isn't, to me, this doesn't signify rejection. Even on XRP, what it did, this signifies more of, we're going up and seeing if we now consolidate a little bit for a springboard out. So I'm not convinced yet that this is rejected. We need to get the further evidence. And for XRP, we need to come down below 278 to get that further evidence, in my opinion. I know it's a wide move from 288, but you don't want to overshoot it. And then you can start working your way back to 264 and 261 and that kind of stuff. Craig, we'll look at the heat map for sure. But we're going to pay our due diligence on XRP. And I know you see up in the video description below and pinned comments about Toobit. The same person that helped me out with BitUnix when it first became available once again in the USA a couple years ago, because at first it wasn't allowed. And now it's back to, I guess, their original ways. Toobit's doing the same thing. They allowed it now again in the USA. But you have to do it, and they're NO.KYC, and I'm doing it NO.KYC. But technically, you know, you do it with your government ID and you do the KYC, but it is a NO.KYC exchange. But it's up to you to do the confines of the U.S. regulatory stuff, you know, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So that's the same person who helped me on BitUnix. You all remember Jane. She was real nice to our community. She left BitUnix because of their lack of partnership with the USA. And now she's there, and she contacted me today. You know, this is one that's reuniting with the USA, and they just put in a USD pairing again so that you can be tradable. And it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. So the fees are more comparable to BitUnix. I forgot to talk about it when I first started, but that's something you should definitely give a shot, because WeX wasn't allowing us to do the copy trade even though it was set up. And I've been waiting for her contact because she's very trustworthy. So that's where I ended up moving $14,000 over to there. So I put my money where my mouth is in that regard. So I'm going to see how it works. The fees are dirt cheap like BitUnix. has a very similar user interface as well. They have IOTA in the futures, which is my selling point as well. I can do it at 1x. But there's a lot on there. There's a lot. So XDC I would buy on Kraken in a tier 1 exchange. Or buy it somewhere else where you can shift it over there if you can. The fees, as long as you do the Kraken Pro, are not horrible, especially for the tier 1 exchanges. Let's see. So Tom, we're saying the... Let's see, what is this? Why has it got that like that? So Tom, what you're saying, lower we go now, the higher. Oh, absolutely. The lower the drop, the higher the springboard here. For sure. 100% Frankie Fresh. 100%. 100%. That's on point. And one more thing with Toobit, the reason I sent so much money there is because when I do copy trading, I'm just going to start buying a couple different things there, whether it's me or nobody. And I'm not going to talk about it. Like, I'm just going to mention it once or twice, and then it's... So, anyhow, the bigger the base, the higher than the space. That is so true. XRP is shit. It has more dips than a chicken nugget. I'm done, sick of the bullshit lies. I'm not sure what you're talking about, my friend. I've said the same thing. Big Yin, obviously you're not part of this community for it. I've never seen your name, or at least not often. But we've been doing this, and we called this from 2021 when we sold out at the top of the bull market. Well, the right arm at $1.66. And we didn't buy back until sub 40 for a reason, because we played. And before you leave and disrespect XRP, the only thing that you're pissed off about is bullshit influencers right now. You're dealing with your own emotion. But I'm going to tell you a better way if you missed XRP. And you're only pissed because you're buying at $3, $2.80. You're buying it when all these schlubs are telling you to buy it instead of them telling you the truth, because they're making money off of you. I'm losing money. 10% of my audience left because of my bearish takes in the last 6 or 8 months now. You know, the members of Tom's Army, the ones who actually moved the community because I put out all my content out for free. So I took a 10% hit personally because I tell the truth, but that's okay. I'll get it back tenfold when it happens again. So we've been talking about this descending formation for 7 years. We personally haven't, but we've been watching it since 21. So we knew when we got this rejection that we had to wait for the uptrend, which we did. 34, got another tap, luckily, in 38, right around here, right before the breakout. And we've had this setup for years. So we did the breakout, and now I would encourage you to stick around, my friend, because I don't believe it's your fault that you feel this way. I believe you've been manipulated into not understanding the truth. So our technical target for this cycle is $6.38, and that's based on the setup that I built before we ever broke out. I know it looks like this is out and then this happened. I put this out a long time before this ever happened. All of this. And anybody in the audience knows we've been doing this for a long time. So this setup now, and I've been very transparent that I'm not convinced yet that we're not going to go all the way back down to $1.77. I'm not. And back in January, I put out a video, and just another reason for you to stick around, because when everybody was selling the bill of goods in January, I had the opposite take. I told everybody why I sold 75% of my crypto and focused the gold and silver and the mining stocks. I got shredded. Notice that video had 3,700 views. Notice the view count I have right now. I took a hit by more than a third of my total audience views because of my stance of we were going to be bearish for a while. I have no shame in it. The same thing happened from bear to bull market and bull to bear. Well, from bear to bull, I get very popular, especially in the consolidation in a bear. But then when I get bearish in a bull market, because all of our alts are not even in a bull market, XRP's in the consolidation of a bull market. So, but no, Corey, hold on. No, don't judge too much. Corey says people that know XRP aren't bitter with it. In no way, shape, or form, my friend. Know what you're holding. Clearly, you need to do more research. The lower it goes, the more you buy. Corey, yes. But listen, the difference is okay, Corey, I know you've probably been in here for a while. Or at least you know the routine. But My whole logic was you buy it under $1 and especially under 40 cents because of the routine of what it would do. But don't judge so harshly. I used to do this too much myself. Don't harshly judge Big Yin. He knows no different, especially if he's newer to XRP. So now we go through this consolidation, and everybody for 6 months is telling us to buy. And all I kept saying was, you better be damn sure where you buy, because you don't buy the dip when it's not the dip. What ends up happening is you get a whole bunch of douchebags that come out of the woodwork, and they stick around for years, because what ends up happening is they realize they make some easy money by lying to a populace, and they just got to stick around for years, and they'll eventually get tapped again. So what they do is they ring in the newbies. So they're telling everybody, buy here, it can't go anywhere but infinity, $1,000 a token, $100 a token, $50 by the end of the year. How many times did we hear this? Just to see it now, and XRP, for anybody who bought just the top, is down at least 20% right now. So then you sit here like Big Yin, you say, oh, this thing's a pile of shit, it only goes down. It's like, my brother, if you're looking at it in that perspective, but let's take a look. From April of 25 even, if you would have just bought the drop in the bottom of our formation where we gave the blessing to buy there because it was within 10% of even the $1.50 gap, that was the only time this entire time I gave a blessing to buy XRP during this whole cycle, just because of where it was at. And I was very adamant. I wish it would have came to $1.50, but it was within 10% of the bottom. And I didn't buy it there. I bought it at 34 on 38. There ain't no way in hell I'm buying it at $1. I'm just saying. So anybody who missed out, they're up 75% from there. It's your fault, yes, for not understanding the setup and buying it at the worst possible times because everybody who says it's only going down is illogical. I can show you evidence from July. It's up 75% for fuck's sake. Nobody can help that you bought it within the 6-month stretch. That was the wrong time. You know? And this is just from here, my guy. This is just from here because you didn't buy it in the run in July. What I'm talking about is even deeper than this. They started pushing it at the top of the bull market. Not just, and for XRP July, but they did it here too. But see, even from here at 344, I mean, it's the same thing, but it's worse here because it came up after. It gave you another chance, legitimately. So, push here, push here. I pushed here because there was opportunity, and look what happened. Now you could even sell out for 75%. The problem is a lot of people are giving bad info in this space. That's why I started doing this in 2021, March 24th to be exact, of 2021. I've never missed a day, period. Never missed a day. The whole reason I started doing this is because the influencers, when we were starting to, they would give the illogical numbers. I'm like, this doesn't even make any sense. None of this does. And I love XRP. So I'm like, I'll be the voice of reason. And in my first video, I said in 1 year from today, I'll have 10,000 subscribers. And I said that they're all 3 subscribers, which was me, Julie, and myself again. Got to come out hot out of the gate with 3 subscribers, right? John Hall, thank you so much for the $5 donation. Says, thank you, brother. You helped me big, love you. Or big. You helped me big, love you. Brother, thank you for the prayer. Oh, you're welcome, my friend. And keep John in your prayers as his mom passed. So, show guidance for her soul meeting our Father once more. Because we've met before. We've all in some weird way met before, but in a different form. We live in an interesting little journey. I think we're in many journeys. So in my title, I said XRP slips below breakout support, and I've shown every reason why that it did slip below that breakout support, which would be right here. Oh, whoops, went down one too many. That 288.41. Falls back within Dangeroye setup as it changed my dangerous, and I didn't see it because it forces me to do it sideways. And the problem is I can't see out of my left eye except the blurs, so it's hard for me to see the writing on the left side. So, like, yeah. And I said, will government shut down today in the USA? We have a government shutdown looming at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let me turn on Bloomberg, muted it. Because we don't like to listen to that nonsense. We just like to see what the headlines are. So the Dow has given back its gains from the open. Oh no, it's still up 20, but I thought it was up more. It was up more. What happened? S&P's down 4. Everything gave back its gains now. NASDAQ's down 45. Remember in Trump's last term, we had a 20-something day shutdown. And I believe that this is more plausible than not, because this time Trump said all government employees, if they're not working, they don't get paid when they come back. In past, you'd get paid for every day you missed upon of return. So, but I think this will be a way to use the, if they do this, it's going to be how they bring down the market temporarily, that bring that springboard into October. So everybody has to see the muscle. It's going to be hard to see. Let's see. I don't know how I'm going to show it like this, but everybody's been asking, so I will show you the progress. Even though, you know, it's going to be hard to see. Let's see. So, especially in my shirt, but whatever. You can see it somewhat. It's hard to see, but it's been about a 3-year journey now. 3-year journey. Let's see. I don't know what's the best way there. There you go. It's been a 3-year journey. Yeah, I'll flex the guns one time for the audience, so you can see that I'm actually doing work. But if I was doing my videos the other way, it'd be much more noticeable, because you'd have to see my triceps. But anyhow, there's your flex for the day. But yeah, let's go into the government shutdown real quick. And also, when I started on YouTube, I was probably about 194 pounds. And now I'm 174 pounds, and I put on a lot of muscle. Lost a good 20 pounds plus. I feel a lot better. I've been doing this since 2 weeks before Halloween in October of 22. And I started fasting like in November of 22. 16 hours no eating, 8 hours a day eating, so I do intermittent fasting. I have not taken a break, not even a single day from that. Ooh, yeah! So it's like, ugh. But, you know, it was a long time since I don't know, it's interesting to be in the best shape of my life, about to be 42 in December. I feel better than I ever have. It's so weird. Like, I would have thought I would be in more pain with my body, because I broke my back when I was 23. When I did, I was 265 pounds. So maybe it was a blessing in disguise, because I definitely took a lot more into health. But let's see with the government shutdown. And I appreciate everybody's compliments along the way. It's definitely invigorating to hear when people say good, nice things about the change in my appearance and things like that. Now today it looks like I have nice trimmed hair, right? Because of the way I pull it back. But I still haven't cut my hair. No joke. Since June of 2023, when I broke my hands and my forearm and my finger really bad. But I fixed it to the best of my ability. Got full movement, so I must have did something right. But it's interesting. Be careful, get the wife looking. Thanks, Mike, for reading down for your second month of the $1,000 crypto news. I'll take it. Tom, if we're down 37% on band, would you hold till next push up, or stop the bleeding at 40%? Ugh. Man, oh man, I tried with band with everybody about the push up, and then where I thought it was going into the mid 50-cent range. I mean, at this point, I think your worst case, because the problem with just selling band right now is, oh man, I don't think it would be, I don't think at this point, because look at the weekly. The band, with weekly and band, I think what ends up happening here, let me pull this up, is that it'll probably, let me make sure that we can push this at max, because I think this isn't far enough down where it's showing, because it got pulled out, as you can see. It's supposed to line up like this wick from here to here and through. That's how it matched up with a drop. And now that it's back within the pattern, it means it broke out too late or too early. The maximum capacity is December of 25. So this could consolidate until then, which means maximum exposure now would be about 49.9 cents. So 52.
So I think, for Jeffries, and keep in mind that there are certain areas that there's.
I mean, that's a you call, but at this point, I would just focus on if you're really wanting to hold band.
Again, we're seeing a lot of strength.
Because that daily is going to be extremely oversold. It's obvious that head and shoulders is formed. It's probably going to come to reset. And that's when I'm going to implore some decent capital in there. At one point I had 10,000 until I had to switch off the exchanges. But it's like only seeing how much the fees and stuff are to buy back small. But I'm going to buy back big. Probably when it gets to that area. And it probably will exceed what I used to hold even. So I have a lot of faith in band. A lot of faith. It's just there was a momentary opportunity when we had it from down here and we had the big run up. Then some sold, some took profits. Obviously, you do what you got to do. But some bought in when it was on the big run up. Some had bought in on the way down. But this is another case of when it went up to $1.33, some were buying at $1 saying I'm buying the dip. And it's like it's not the dip. It's just a reconsolidation from a big breakout. Then buying the dip at 77. It's good experience. What I would suggest here is if you're a long-term player in this, because it's already come down so much, your job now is to buy a bunch more if it comes down to 52 if you can swing it. If that's your plan. Because the weekly is going to end up being phenomenal when it gets down there. I'm telling you. Once it's all going to shake out. All we're waiting for are these weeklies to start shaking out. The monthly's already in a desirable position and it'll be more desirable once the weekly catches up. By mid-November, this should be lined up into late December for a push. So I think you're going to get everything. I'm very comfortable with band. I think you're going to get it all back and then some. What's your average right now? Out of curiosity, I'm not a financial advisor, and this is for entertainment purposes only, obviously. But what is... Yes, I did, Mark. Yes, we talked about it a while ago about uphold. But I don't like uphold anyhow, so that has no bearing on what I do with band. Band's on Kraken, band's on WeX if you need to buy it there and send it cheap. Still use BitUnix. Like, they're still allowing USA users. It's just new users. It's a little tricky. If you're a user on there, I encourage you to go to Toobit because now they have the USD and everything back and you can stake USD and all that crap again and earn stuff. And just because we have the backing of Jane, if anything ever goes wrong, she can help our community. Like, I don't have that backing at BitUnix anymore because she left. So if I have to talk to somebody, it's hard. We don't have somebody on the inside. And she's the one who's helped us from exchange to exchange. As they got rid of the USA, she kept us ahead. And you remember, she's kept us ahead on a few now. She allowed us to enjoy Femex while we could in the USA, and it was spectacular while we could. And then she went to BitUnix and allowed us to do that while we could for a couple years. Now she moved on to work with the USA with Toobit. Like, I put my faith in the ones who put their faith and help into us. And she has a proven history over a couple years. She even talked to us in the lives and helped us. She's so nice. And that exchange is a Singapore one, just like the rest of them that she's been with. She's a very nice woman, and she's very helpful. And she's the one who can help us do, like, different things for the community. She's the one who worked up the promotions for the free XRP. There's members of this community that got over 600 XRP for free when it was at, like, $1.50. And more. Some people got more depending on how much. And she can do those things again. So join me at Toobit. I encourage you. I want to copy trade with my audience, most of you. I want to build a relationship again like we had on BitUnix. I want to have that back. I miss that so much. I crave that closeness, how we had that camaraderie on BitUnix and traded together. And we could see everything in light speed. So I'm going to put my faith in her once again, now that she's figured it out in another way. And they're ahead now. They weren't allowing USA for a while until August of this year again. And now it's up to us to not go the non-KYC route, which I'm not doing KYC because it's allowed. But it's up to you to do it with your license and do your government-issued ID to be valid in the USA. So it's up to you to do what you need to do. I'm not going to tell you how to trade, but you can do the KYC so that you are safe if something happens. But we do have Jane in our corner, so don't overlook that. And if you've rode with me on other exchanges, this is my next suggestion. Just like BitUnix before, this is the next one in line. WeX, I was showing because people in the audience allowed us to see it, but I didn't it wasn't my suggestion. It was just I trusted people in the audience and were able to trade some things. But I can get IOTA on Toobit in the future, so I'm going to go that route. On the 1X side of it, obviously. And hopefully I'm going to look through the copy trading and see what they let you trade. And yes, I'm glad somebody brought up IOTX. I've knocked out a lot of different things because in my own mind, IOTX on exchanges is a token that I absolutely want because it's come all the way back down. It's back in my repertoire. And if it comes back down to the descending channel, I'm game again. Absolute game. I'm going to have this with IOTA and it's going to be a very big part of my holdings. I'm not fucking around anymore. I told you I got rid of a lot of bullshit. So basically my list, it's going to be IOTA, IOTX, Band, Dent. We already have XRP, so we don't need to talk about that, or XRP Healthcare. Algo. So IOTA, IOTX, Band, Dent, and CRO I already have, so we're not going to talk about that as far as needing to get, or own, or have. But this is what I'm saying, because XRP is a no-brainer. I have that. XRP Healthcare is a no-brainer. CRO is a no-brainer now because of conditions of the Crypto.com debit card. But the no-brainers now are XLM with this drop. You got to have 10,000 tokens, so that will be in my repertoire. Like I said, no more bullshit. XDC will be in the repertoire. IOTA, Algo, IOTEX, Band, Dent. Just in case you're following what I do. XYO, I'm on the fence. But I am going to go with it because I'm watching it go to cheap levels. And I'm gonna make a big dent, hopefully at 0.0061 is my goal. And these are all going to be so oversold by the time they get there that's what I'm looking at. So yeah, the monthly is going to be way oversold. 0.0061, I'm back on board. But yeah, I've been talking about this shakeout for a while, and it looks like we're getting there. I think we're going to get there eventually. So just be patient. Be patient. Big release on the 16th as well on XYO. But these are what I'm going to end up, this is unified. And then Axelar and Epic, if it works out in our favor. Epic, if it gets down under $1, I'm going to be hardcore. We'll talk about it more. But I need it to break down and come to this 95-cent area because it's destined. If it doesn't, it's just not meant to be. And then I'm looking for a overall breakdown, believe it or not, on Axelar to coming to new lows in discovery. So I'm waiting for the discovery phase for Axelar, and I'm gonna try to do this right to where we have so many tokens now. Okay, so also H-bar, when it gets back down to where it needs to go, is also on the list, and so is VeChain. So there's going to be a lot that needs to be bought, but I'm cutting out all the bullshit. Like, it's back down to Profine Plan. So basically the way it goes, when they're cheap like this, VeChain needs to be no less than 100,000 tokens if you can swing it. Otherwise, stick to the 10,000 philosophy. H-bar, when it gets to where it needs to go, no less. And if it gets to let's say it got to 10 cents, I would say no less than 20,000. Or if it gets to 15 cents, no less than 20,000. But 10,000 for a minimum, for sure. XDC 100,000 because of price. XLM, depending on where it gets to, no less than 10,000. But you could work at the 20. But you're talking about a lot of different assets here. XRP 10,000 minimum, but you can't get that here. It's priced out retail. You would have had to do it with us in the past. IOTA 40,000 where it's at right now, but 10,000 minimum. But for me, 40,000 is the goal when it gets to where it's going. Algo, I'm gonna have no less than 30,000. Dent, I'll have 5 million when it gets to where it's going. Band, no less than 10,000. XYO, no less than where it's going to 222,000. I might up it to 444,000. CRO, I have 35,000 that just sit. I've had it since 9 and 10 and 12 cents for the Crypto.com Visa debit card. Fortunately, when I got the card, it's tanking, so we had a lot of incentive. IOTX, no less than 100,000, but I'm thinking 222,000. If it got down here to 0.006, if it got down to 0.006 and it's oversold, I might push a 500,000 to $1 million. So that's me. That's me. What do you guys think of what I'm saying? And I would love to take a call. Would anybody like to call in and have a discussion about this? Would anybody like to call in and have a discussion about our portfolios and our plan going forward, and just a more detailed discussion for the audience to listen into? Not something bad this time. You are welcome, everybody. And Frankie Fresh, you are welcome. I don't know what OXT is, so no thought on it at the moment. So I have a very defined structural plan. I have currently in cash to make this happen. It's not because I want to be in cash. It's because I just feel like something bad's going to happen. I have, and it's been happening. Let's see, in total, $32,000 right now in cash that could be employed in crypto. Yes, ZBCN is something of interest, but it has to be in a very defined spot. So I guess I should, but it has to be very defined. Very defined. Did I mention it has to be very defined? This can be a no bullshit area. It has to come for me, and I know it's going to make it, because look at the daily. We're oversold big time in the daily, oversold in the weekly, and this one's going to prelude, I think, what's going to come the rest of the way in the monthly. We're close. We won't be able to see it in the monthly, but we're close. I don't think we have enough data right now, but we're close. The weekly is severely getting into that level where I want it, but it's not going to be able to sustain if a whole market collapses again. And I think this death cross is leading us back down. So what I think is going to happen is we're finally going to do a real back test here. 0.002 area is where I'm looking. I don't know if it's going to necessarily come all the way back down there, because I very well could think it could be just coming down to 0.003. So I need to see one of two things. This level holds on a back test, because I think that's what it's trying to come back to. And it hasn't come there yet, but it is lined up almost perfectly with the 200-day. So I want to see that happen, 0.036, like right here, a back test. I want to go a little bit lower than that. No, that's fine. But I want to see, make sure it hits there. But I can see a much wider setup, and look how this can drag us down if we look at it in a certain sense. We keep hitting this resistance. So I like it coming through like this, just because we hit that wick, comes through, had a little breakout above the top, then comes through, hits another, whoops, hits another wick. Hold on, this has to be precise, because I struggle with my left side because I can't see on my left eye, so I just see blur because I have keratoconus. So judge me not so harshly on how long it takes sometimes. I have to get it right.
Or do you take a hit from those just like other manufacturers?
Oh, yeah, I mean, look at that. Now that is a sexy little setup there. See, now we're starting to see something here with ZBCN. It's just trying to come back to define this uptrend. Now we're starting to see it. Now we're starting to see it. Let's get rid of some of this noise. Let's get rid of some of this short-term noise. Whoops. Short-term noise. We're starting to see it now, folks. We're seeing why it came down here. It's building an ascending formation. That's an ascending ball. The price action is in the consolidation, but it's ascending from way back down here. Let's see where the proper spot would be. See, these are tricky because it's like, do you come through the body? What the fuck? Where the hell did that go? So TradingView just took that away. That's interesting.
Let's get a check on the markets right now. We're just over an hour into the trade. We've seen losses that are little changed.
And if you want to learn how to trade other assets, even if you don't like ZBCN, just look at what I'm doing with the chart, and you can do this with some of your other ones.
Down about 0.2%, had been off almost a third. So
we're finding the ascending uptrend and the descending resistance. We're trying to see how it meets.
Down around 411, 412.
I'm gonna go wick to wick, I think.
A lot better than the 20.
No, I don't think we can, though. I don't think wick would be appropriate. I think this is a case where you go through the body because that's where it bounced off, and that would be the last layer right there, that candle where it bounced off of it instead of the reversal. Yeah, so I'm going to do it like this. It's probably going to bring it to a high.
Presidents will take the reins as co-CEOs on that day. Shares of Firefly are falling after the company disclosed an incident during a test in Texas that resulted in the loss of
Let's see how the weekly looks. We might need to get the weekly assurance.
a disappointing first quarter earnings report. You can see they're losing more than a fifth of their value today. And keeping an eye on
I'm going to go back to the other one, too. I'm just trying to see something. Yeah, we have to do it through the daily. It's not going to make any sense in the weekly. Especially if we're trying to get an ascending structure.
4K video. Amazon also announcing new 4K Fire TV.
Shit, you could almost start from way at the bottom, but no. Because it consolidated here.
And talk about these products with Amazon Senior.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with this. I'm going to stick with that. That's the most comfortable for me. I'm going to stick with that. It makes the most sense. Makes the most sense. And this setup, there's no reason to, this makes more sense. I still think it's going to come down probably through this, so we'll have to pay attention possibly. But it makes the most sense. Just let it set up with the uptrend and see how it plays, what wins out in this consolidation. So,
Risk is a constant.
yeah, I know it's a horrible time right now for that part of the future because of what time it is. I get it.
I feel right at home. How do you manage risk?
CME Group, where risk meets opportunity.
But let's see. We're still in that steady decline down. What was interesting though is gold, silver, mining stocks. They were getting hammered in pre-market. I don't know. Like I'm looking at 3 to 5% losses across the board in mining stocks, and they literally used that to clear out some steam here in pre-market. Like it was crazy where it was at in pre-market.
Life's joy shouldn't diminish.
But I mean, look at Barrett Gold's oversold in the daily.
Provide in-home care.
And it should still come down far. I was just shocked that it didn't finish that move to 31. Actually, what did I call for yesterday?
Our empathy
29.30. Because yesterday everybody's like, I'm like, I know you want me to tell you to keep buying the miners, which you can because they're undervalued, and I want you to. But I don't want you to get caught in a scenario where you get liquidated in a sense that you buy it and then you're down so much.
today to learn
But like Fortuna ate all its losses. It was up 3.5–4%. It was down in pre-market. Now it's up 4.1%. Like these are gonna overall push back up. They will, even if they have downturns. Silver had that momentary downturn. Came down below 46. It was at 45.78 and immediately reversed back to 46.60. But what it did is look how oversold it brought it in the 2 hourly. Like it's crazy. Like if we could do this for a week and just consolidate, we're already oversold in the 4 hourly. So it's pretty crazy how quick that happened and how high the prices still are. Unbelievable. Bitcoin, I mean, as we've seen, it's come back from that 115K area back down to about 113. So, but yeah, with that being said, I think that's everything besides just looking to see the update on the government shutdown. And I'm going to let you guys go. I appreciate everything this morning. I'm glad we talked about what we did. So Democrats and Republicans in Washington remain at odds over how to fund the government and avoid a shutdown. Basically what they're trying to do is, they continuously raise the credit limit, which is bullshit, but that's all they do. So essentially all they do is as if you had a credit card and you had a $10,000 credit limit and you hit it, and then they just raise it to $20,000 and you have to pay extended interest, but you can still charge it and you can technically live. That's all the government's doing. And it's ballooned to like 41 trillion. It's insane. So all they're going to do is vote to raise the debt ceiling so that they can do what they need to do. They're not funding shit. They're just putting more and more debt. You know, what 41 trillion is what they've stole from the American people. If you understand economics and how it actually works, because they're devaluing your dollar through inflation, they owe the United States citizens over $41 trillion as of today. That's what the debt clock is. How much money they've stolen from you and I. But 99% of you watching or out there may not even understand that, because we're not taught that, unfortunately. So the government shutdown is set to happen at 12:01 a.m. this evening. Once the clock flips from Tuesday to Wednesday here on the Eastern Standard Time, which right now it's about 11 hours and 18 minutes from now. Leaders in Congress met with President Trump at the White House on Monday afternoon, but emerged from the meeting having made little progress. Republicans want to extend current funding levels for 7 weeks to avoid a shutdown, but Democrats are seeking an extension of expiring health insurance subsidies. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said there are very large differences between the two sides after the meeting. Later Monday, President Trump posted an AI-generated video mocking the Democratic leaders. Yeah, because that's going to get things done. The Senate Senate plans to bring up a House-passed bill to keep the government funded for another vote on Tuesday, as few avenues to avoid a shutdown appear viable. So basically, they're looking at the best avenue to put money in their pockets is all this amounts to. That's it. Healthcare subsidies means put it in their pocket. That's all this is. They just can't agree how much they're all going to get paid to not go to work. Jeffrey said our position is a simple one: cancel the cuts, lower the cost, save healthcare. All bullshit. So we'll see what happens. We'll watch this bullshit, bring around the rosy go. Be blessed, everybody. I really like this live. For the ones that say it, I embrace you all. I hope to see you on Toobit as well. I don't know how many people would join it, but I would love to have some unity there. I would. I think we can do something again together. And that's where I'm going to be doing it. So, not everything will be on there, but like I said, I have $14,000 on there out of my 32. 18,000's on Kraken. That's spare. And on Kraken, I'll have XDC. So, you know, if it gets down to 5.7, that would be 5,700 would be right there. So, and the money that's on the other exchange, Toobit, would be for IOTA and be for a couple others that I'm going to decide. I think I'm probably going to go back with the copy trading to I'm just going to do it all through copy trading. If people want to follow, they follow. And then when they see you can get down a few $1,000s during the process, they won't stress so much. So be blessed, everybody. Have a good day.